Oh, here I am. Yes, what the fuck? Happenings in the YouTube atheist community and Stickam fun. Welcome to another edition of... Yeah, I'll throw that in too. Anyway, yeah, I just stripped over a log doing the opening, so deleted that. It made me look incompetent and clumsy. I also didn't know what the fuck I was going to talk about, which is not a good idea when you start the video. Anyway, I really still don't give a damn. There are things that happened. I heard Manix the Pirate deleted his videos. Yeah, who cares? Some reason, I don't know. Yeah, so that's my news. Somebody made a video somewhere, I think, saying something about something, but I don't know what it would be. I'll mention Ujama Flipper. He made a video, a little bit wacky for my taste, actually, talking about string theory babbly babble and Ayn Rand. And you're saying, oh shit, at least those two subjects belong together. You know, both fairy tale stuff. But anyway, whatever. I mean, I don't think he was saying, I don't know what he was saying exactly. That they're fun subjects, maybe that's it. Not that they're serious. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's see, some other people made videos. Karina, yeah, she made that good one on the right to die thing. And I know there was some other crap I saw that was pretty good, but I can't remember what it was. Maybe I'll think of it. Anyway, yeah, sub-DNA guy, I'll mention him, even though he's a really wacky and stickham last night, so he lost a little bit of credibility points. But he's finally making videos on Blip. Only made one so far. Hopefully he won't delete this one. Hopefully he will become more consistent in his behavior. But anyway, so yeah, I'll reference that. I'll point a link to it. It wasn't bad. Read an article. He reads pretty good. Myra Mystic, I'll do a video to him later on the economics crap, but like maybe at the end of this video if I got enough time. That was my plan originally anyway. So anyway, yeah, but you know, he had a real problem with the copyright stuff because he visits other websites and, you know, critiques them. And that's really the whole point of fair use. He pretty much fairly uses content. And YouTube didn't like it and they killed his partnership. And the whole thing's rather rude. Especially considering he, you know, his little bird flew away and everything, and he's kind of had a bad couple of weeks, and it's just kind of blame with them. But yeah, there was a really good video of his bird that he raised, and yeah, so you should see that. So I'll post a link to that. And what else? Yeah, I can't think of anything else. Okay, Stickam. Early on, good conversation with Remy, argument and such, and later in the night, yeah, okay, everything kind of fell apart, and I got really tired, and we were just. I mean, we had a couple of little moments where we started having something called an argument or a conversation, but yeah, it was just kind of just babbled on for a couple hours there at the end. But anyway, there was that really good beginning, well, middle, whatever you want to call it. So you know, I can't say we got anywhere, but we might have, because I think Remy's one of these type of people who, you know, he judges the world based on how it affects him, basically, and so he is a, you know, me first. You know, even philosophy kind of has to go through that me first filter of why should I give a fuck. And so that's always been a problem because I'm talking about macro, you know, net real intact kind of stuff, and those kind of people are really hard to get them to understand that, you know, we're machines in the environment and we all leak oil and create some exhaust, and we consume resources of, you know, human labor and suffering and all this kind of stuff, and our existence is built on a mountain of time and all this crap, and you know, it's not free. And so you have to first make that argument, or second make that argument, before you can make any other argument that has to do with broader context. So I think we got somewhere on that, and then we got somewhere, I think, on him understanding my point about this relationship between pain and pleasure, and that they're not the same thing, that pleasure is essentially or effectively made out of pain, that deprivation is created first, which is a kind of misery, a kind of lacking, an emptiness, a tension, some other form of burden that is placed upon us, whether it is a loss or an encumbrance. And pleasure is basically when you release that. That pleasure is derived through concepts like relaxation. What's a good word for that? Excreting of your bullshit. But yeah, we excrete it. We you know, the gas flies out of us, and we're, that was good. Yeah, we get rid of the negative, and that is the positive of the sensation of pleasure. And that's the mechanism the DNA molecule has fallen upon, if we can use that language, in manipulating the conscious organism. That he is manipulated by creating an attachment. And the attachment is created by creating, by ripping a piece of you that you are attached to off of you, essentially, and saying, now go chase. And when you catch it, I'll give you a bit of satisfaction. And so some of that has gotten layers of convolution, in terms of how we put the pieces back together. So we might be doing one act, some sensual act, and that will relieve some other kind of tension. It will replace a piece that we lost 10 years ago, or 5 days ago, or whatever the scenario is. Some other piece of tension will be extracted from us. And this discomfort can be both psychological and physical, but obviously the sensations themselves have to be made out of a physical component. Like right now, if I truly analyze my physical state, it's benign if I'm distracted, if I'm not consciously paying attention. But if I do attempt to pay attention, I'll notice that my arm is fatigued and stressed, and that there's a tightness in my shoulder blades. It's just obscene, and that I have these miseries, these little miseries, and that if somebody was able to extract them from me, and by pulling a string, all in one little burst, it would probably feel like an orgasm. It would feel really good. So anyway, the concept basically is that the universe creates a negative. The existence of consciousness creates a negative, and the game is the positive is created out of eliminating the negatives, eliminating the tensions, the stresses, the burdens, the encumbrances, the tensions, the aggravations, the negatives, sensations, and that's why the game is sort of zero sum, or I say quite explicitly zero sum, is because the only real value in the world is eliminating an encumbrance, a misery, a suffering, and all other value that we perceive is a conjure of our psychology, where we have the illusion that it means something, but we're really just chasing an emptiness. And that's sort of how the ego is run. The ego tells you you're no good, you can't feel good, you can't be satisfied until you accomplish X, Y, Z. And then it will relieve you of your negatives. And so it becomes an indirect function, but the game is still the same. And that contrivance can be, what you feel good doing is completely changeable. You can love eating dirt, or you can love eating caviar. The thing that you love hasn't got the value. The caviar and the dirt are irrelevant. The only thing that matters is your desire, which has been made out of your deprivation, your need to have something, whether it's dirt or caviar. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. That's my point. It can be fudged, through psychology. All right, that's more of a video than a what the fuck, but I did want to just illustrate that that's sort of, the argument has evolved a little, in the sense at least we're not arguing, where we put pleasure on one side of the scale and pain on the other side. It's a little more complicated than that, because there are strings tied between these things, and you can't essentially have the pleasure without first creating the negative pain, the negative state. And I think he's starting to understand that that's my point. And so I call that progress, I suspect. So, hello person. How you doing? Hey kiddo. Looks a little cranky. So, bad day for him too. So anyway, yeah. So anyway, that was productive conversation, I think, and I mean, it might, led to some sort of understanding, if not agreement, and yeah. So that's good. So where we go from there? Yeah, well, there's other good videos. Conference report guy made one on Blip, not bad. I mean, it'll be on YouTube eventually, I imagine. Apropos Snow guy, he comes up with a good one now and then. I mean, that's good, but he talks well and he's analytical, and and so that's good. I don't agree with a lot of what he says sometimes, but whatever. But this idea of talking about what we should exchange for what in terms of personal satisfaction or empowerment versus the truth. I've made plenty of videos about that, and as a practical reality, I don't see any problem with believing whatever the fuck you want. I mean, you want to fantasize about flying dogs and whatever, that's your business, as long as you don't take it into the real world. So if there's no real world implication for people's fantasy about aggrandizing the importance of their life or their meaning or spirituality or superstition, then fine, who cares? But that's not the issue. The issue is that people take it into the real world. They take that fantasy and decide that, oh yeah, I'm going to have kids, because my kid's going to be Thor, or whatever the theory is. So if that philosophy enables people to invest in the game, put new players on the rickety roller coaster, well, that's where it goes too far. So there's a point where people have to be accountable for their life, and there's the point where they don't have to be. But as soon as you start impacting other people, I mean, realistically, you can't cop out and say, well, I didn't believe knives were really pointy and sharp and caused, bodily injury to other people. And I mean, you can't just play this game like I don't understand how the economic system works when you didn't want to understand. You wanted a fantasy. So you can't use excuses to ignore, the real world exploitations that exist and your real world contribution to them through how you vote or interact with other people, and what kind of propaganda or nonsense you infected them with and make them dysfunctional in the world and irresponsible in the world. So you do have to you have to be responsible first. You have to be responsible to the truth, have to be respectful of it, to be responsible to society. That's your responsibility. And it's not your responsibility, it's your right to fill yourself with delusion and live in a fantasy world, but it's not your right to impact the rest of us with that bullshit when you have a brain and a capacity to know better. That's the key word here, know better. So if you're going to use it as an excuse for stupid judgments and bad behavior, fuck that. I mean, really, God told me to rape the woman. I mean, come on. The chair told me, the magic chair of, well, I won't make up a word, but, yeah, no. To keep your talking chairs in your living room, don't let them impact other people's lives. Alright. So I guess that's enough. So we're out of time anyway. Longer than I thought it would be. And such. And so forth. But yeah, thank you for the people that do show up. A lot of assholes last night. Interrupting the room, creating noise and nonsense, which is disappointing. But what are you going to do? That's the human race. Small-minded, petty little weaselly beasts with very little character. Just liars and game players, propagandists, snake oil salesmen, chipmunk haters. Yeah, that's all they are. Assholes. So anyway, now we'll stop doing that now too. I'm tired. Alright, so till next time and such, and so forth. And whatnot. Oh, whatnot this time. God. I've just got to my place of labor and I'm already unlabored. Alright, till next time. Really, I'll go now.